Malaysia's parliament is set to reconvene this month, just before its state of emergency expires on August the 1st. Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin's instruction that parliament sits as soon as possible comes just days after the king repeated his call for both houses to meet. The Prime Minister has also faced strong political pressure from both the opposition and within the ruling coalition. Lawmakers are expected to discuss the economic and health crises caused by the pandemic. Doubts have been cast on how effective their debates will be, as some have described it as a divided parliament.
The opposition, they are not united. PH, I think, they have only 92. And the rest, apart from the maybe we have 108 or 109 or 110, we are one. So, you must understand, PH, not necessarily have got the majority, they're probably 92. So PN is more.
For more, Melissa Goh joins us live now from Kuala Lumpur. Mel, good evening. The date for Parliament to meet again, that's going to be decided at next week's Cabinet meeting?
Well, we don't know, Dawn. But according to the current Law Minister, Muhyiddin Yassin, who issued a statement this afternoon, he said that the Prime Minister has decided to honour the King's wishes to have the Parliament in session before the emergency rule expires on August 1st. But a decision, he said, will be finalised by the Cabinet when the ministers next meet on July 7th. Now, the weekly Cabinet meeting held every Wednesday was cancelled yesterday because the Prime Minister was admitted to the hospital. He had diarrhoea the night before. Now, under the federal constitution, the Prime Minister, Mr. Muhyiddin, as head of the House, can decide himself. He doesn't need to wait for the Cabinet to sit. Also, the procedures require a minimum 28 days notice be given to all the MPs, the lawmakers, before the Parliament can sit, so that they can send in their questions and the Speaker can then set the agenda and so on. But even if a date is set after the Cabinet meeting next week, there isn't enough time to properly convene the Parliament. The former Speaker, Muhammad Arif Yusof, I spoke with this morning. He said that the 28 days can be cut to a week or two, given the urgency of the matter amid a raging pandemic. But it's been 6 months, he said, since the last sitting. Some legal experts are arguing that the Parliament may be dissolved automatically once the emergency is lifted on August 1st. So it's important for Parliament to sit before that, so that because if Parliament is dissolved, a general election will have to be held within 60 days, given the raging pandemic with daily cases still hovering above 7,000 and the mounting death toll. A snap poll is really not an option for the country right now to resolve the political uncertainty. Now, Mr. Muhyiddin, despite the razor-thin majority, has maintained that he has the majority support of the House. He has not responded to the ultimatum given by his largest ally, UMNO, the party president, to set a date of the Parliament to sit by July 5th, neither to the same ultimatum that we saw given by the opposition Pakatan Harapan coalition that threatened to march to Parliament on July 19 if Prime Minister Muhyiddin refuses to convene Parliament as soon as possible before August. Now, failure to do so, it's treason, they said. But as far as Prime Minister is concerned, the Attorney General, which is the country's top lawyer, has spoken. The discretion lies with him to decide when to convene the Parliament. The King, as a constitutional monarch, will have to listen to the Prime Minister's advice and act accordingly. So we'll see what's happened next on Wednesday next week at the Cabinet meeting.
Meantime, Mel, there are tightened curbs in place in several parts of Klang Valley. How are people coping?
Malaysians, many, especially in the lower and the middle income groups, they are feeling the heat. Many are in dire straits. It's been one lockdown after another, and more places now in Kuala Lumpur and densely populated Selangor, where I am, will be under enhanced lockdown starting midnight. And no one knows, although it's for 2 weeks, no one knows how it's going to end. It's going to go on indefinitely, they worry. Now, after the lockdown, midnight onwards, only one allowed to leave home each time, and there is no reason the police are to be out anymore after 8 p.m. Now, this as authorities try desperately to bring down cases. They're hovering above 7,000 days, and ICU beds are still full. Some 900 patients are still in the ICU, half of them requires ventilators. Help isn't coming as fast. Many people that I spoke with, especially in the low-cost housing area, people are going hungry. They need help. That's why the citizen movement called Bendera Putih, or known as White Flag, is now trending on the internet as well. White Flag is being raised. If you need help, any sort of help, financial or any assistance, moral support or mental help, basically it's now gathering momentum. Citizens are looking out for themselves. Now, I spoke with the political analyst and Ko Yuling, and she's been tracking that. The hashtag Bendera Putih, or White Flag, has been trending with more than 73,000 mentions in just the last few days. Let's listen into what she had to say.
So what we have is a trending hashtag Bendera Putih, over 73,000 mentions and counting this week. It's gone nationwide. We're talking about outside KL and Selangor, the usual suspects. We're having Kota Baru, Kuala Terengganu on the east coast, Alor, Johor Bahru on the west, Kuching and KK, East Malaysia. These are big figures compared to, say, 16,000 mentions in Twitter since October for other hashtags like Protest Darurat and Bantan Darurat, which were concerned about the emergency, which is actually to control COVID. So this COVID situation seems to have gotten rather out of hand.
Now, many Malaysians are also alarmed following the revelation from the police that more than 400 have taken their own lives just this year alone. On average, 94 committed suicide in the last every month from January to May, and the number is climbing because we're hearing more and more reports of such incidents. Now, Malaysians are concerned. They are reaching out, looking out for their neighbours, for their friends, for their relatives, anyone that needs help, because no one can do this alone, and they are not relying on the government right now. With one lockdown after another, they are reaching out to each other. Don?
A very challenging situation in Malaysia. Mel, thank you for that update. Melissa Go there in Kuala Lumpur.